Is Germany, Nazi, Hitler, the greatest evil that's ever happened on Earth, even though factually...
How do you explain how Sneeko and Hassan both are on the same side regarding Palestine? How could two opposing sides agree so hard on this? What are your opinions on the replacing Biden thing? Do you think they should? The thing that's kind of worrying me the most right now is...
And Anna Kasparian, I mean, I'm not a big fan of hers anyway because she wasn't going to vote for Biden in the first place. If you actually watch the Young Turks content at all, they are more critical of the Democrats even now.
1,000,000%, bro, over the Israel-Palestine stuff, and I couldn't get Cenk to admit it.
Anna's like, her criticisms are just wildly off base because like...
and I don't want to bring up a sore spot, the kind of like the recent divorce arc.
College protesters have finally gone home for the summer, and they've left a lasting mark on history. Their legacy? A destructive trend in social justice activism. It goes far beyond college campuses. It's self-centered, it's manipulative, and it's terrible for America. I call them luxury beliefs. I'm the rare PhD who grew up carrying everything I owned in a trash bag starting when I was 3. I lived in 10 foster homes before I joined the Air Force, then I went to Yale on the GI Bill, and on to Cambridge. Along the way, I came up with the term luxury beliefs. They're ideas held by privileged people that make them look good, but actually harm the marginalized. It's like virtue signaling, with consequences.
Oh, is he the one that actually invented the term? I didn't know until halfway through our conversation with Kyla, is it Scanton? I didn't know, she said she was the one that, or Scanlon, sorry, fuck. She's the one who made up the term vibe session. I didn't even realize that until like halfway through our conversation. Oh, 2 years ago.
Defund the police. Why should we defund the police?
Take defund the police. Classic luxury belief. That cause was most supported by the wealthiest Americans. It was least supported by poor Americans, who are at least twice as likely to be victims of violent crime compared to the middle class. Where I grew up, we were lucky there were police to call. Next up, decriminalizing drugs. That's another luxury belief.
All drugs should be decriminalized.
I want to decriminalize drug possession for personal use, and here's why.
Should crystal meth be legal? The answer is yes.
That movement has been most supported by well-educated Americans, less so by those without a college degree, who are more likely to experience the downsides of the drug trade. My mom once tied me to a chair with a belt while she got high.
Hold on. Hold on. Just close your eyes for a second. Does this guy almost sound like Forethought? Am I crazy?
Educated Americans, less so by those without a college degree, who are...
Right? Holy shit. Hold on, listen. No shot you can't say this doesn't sound like Forethought.
Educated Americans, less so by those without a college degree.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely he does.
Who are more likely to experience the downsides of the drug trade.
Give me somebody like a YouTube video of him. Forethought Destiny.
I've declared war on the Destiny shit. Okay, so
priorities making sure the subreddit stays up. So
listen to him.
I clap down on that shit.
Listen to him.
And my first priority is making sure the subreddit stays up. So I clap down on that shit.
Listen to him.
By those without a college degree, who are more likely to experience the downsides of the drug trade.
He's got like a better mic here, but come on.
Okay, so to be clear.
Not him. Hold on.
Yeah. We're talking about shared posting in the Harry. Okay, then so you ban those people.
Yeah.
This isn't a good example. Trust me, they're identical.
My mom once tied me to a chair with a belt while she got high. And it's not just me. Since 2000, the number of foster kids has doubled due to parental drug use. Luxury beliefs are all over the place. Get rid of the SAT?
4 hours of my life down the drain.
SAT scores help underprivileged kids get into college. Reject marriage?
I find marriage completely pointless.
For poor kids, one of the strongest predictors of success is having married parents. As a kid, I would have done anything to have had 2 stable parents. There are 3 golden rules of luxury beliefs. Did you notice campus protesters acting like refugees?
Bro, when she made that, oh God. What did she call it? When she was speaking, did she say it's like humanitarian aid? Is that what she said? Am I making this up? Hold on, I don't wanna mindfuck myself or something that didn't happen. College protester, did she say that?
would have Ivy Leaguers.
Police, that would be a great first step.
Why should the university be obligated to provide food to people who've taken over a building?
Well, first of all, we're saying that they're obligated to provide food to students who pay for a meal plan here.
But you mentioned that there was a request that food and water be brought in, unless I misunderstood.
To allow it to be brought in. I mean, well, I guess it's ultimately a question of what kind of community and obligation Columbia feels it has to its students. Do you want students to die of dehydration and starvation or get severely ill, even if they disagree with you? If the answer is no, then you should allow basic, I mean, it's crazy to say because we're on an Ivy League campus, but this is like basic humanitarian aid we're asking for. Like, could people please have a glass of water?
Is Germany, Nazi, Hitler, the greatest evil that's ever happened on Earth, even though factually and statistically it is not. And part of that learning process for me when I started looking into it was coming across a huge fact.
Started looking into it.
That we ethnically, the Allies, ethnically cleansed 12 million Germans. Because when you say to people, okay, what is it about?
I think it was like 16, wasn't it? But I don't know.
Hitler. Why is he the most evil? Well, the first thing people would say is, well, an ethnic cleansing almost took place. And now I offer back, you mean like we actually did in this?
Oh, wait, never mind. I'm sorry. I thought she was referring to when all the Germans got kicked out of where they had lived after World War II. She's just talking about people getting killed. So she thinks ethnic cleansing is just killing people? Wait, deaths World War II. Why? Damn! That's over 10% of the population. God damn. Poor Poland.
A huge fact that we...
Her career has to be spiraling now. She's trying to lean harder into the extremist script. She was doing this before. Hello, didn't we talk about this? I feel like nobody believed me on the porn stuff. When she was tweeting out things, and she was like, when she was tweeting out things, she was like, who was the person that made porn popular in the United States? These are all Nazi dog whistles, right? All of these are like common Nazi, like, oh, porn is propagated by Jewish people to weaken the white man and all that, yeah.
Ethnically, the Allies, ethnically cleansed 12 million Germans. Because when you say to people, okay, what is it about Hitler? Why is he the most evil? Well, the first thing people would say is, well, an ethnic cleansing.
How do you explain how Sneeko and Hassan both are on the same side regarding Palestine? How could two opposing sides agree so hard on this? Maybe we'll get to it in a year, however long it takes us to work through all of our stuff. But the very, very, very little I understand of pre-World War II Germany is that it seems similar to that, and that you have a liberal world order, and because things are going okay for a bit, but there's some discontent, as the discontent grows, people look at the liberal world order, they don't understand any of the good they get from it, they just have like complaints about some of the bad things, and then this causes people to veer off on extreme sides on both ends. In Germany, it was the Communist Party, that I think was the KPD, and then it was also the Nazi Party, which was the Nazi Socialist Party. At times they worked together, at times they fought, but both of them agreed that they wanted to get rid of the basically the liberals at the time. But I think that a lot of it stems from kind of like a discontent with the status quo, because for some reason we have a really hard time defending or justifying the status quo. I don't know why that is the case, but...
Almost took place. And now I offer back, you mean like we actually did in this case is...
Actually, yeah. Actually, I'm sorry. Let me re-qualify that. That's not really fair. I shouldn't say that Germany was fine before World War II. I don't think they were after World War I. Germany was kind of fucked after World War I. That's not a fair characterization of Germany. But what was the actual name of the Nazi Party? I have no idea. Wasn't it just the National Socialist Party? Wasn't that their name? Or was it the National Socialist Workers Party? The National Socialist German Workers Party, or the NASDAQ. Holy shit! I've seen Lauren freaking out about French far-right communists and far-left extremists take over French government. I don't know anything about French politics. I don't know if she knows anything about French politics. I have no interest. I've only read like memes about it, so I don't know how true the memes are. The memes that I've read are supposedly Macron was in a bad spot. Calling an election was suicide, and it would have like all but guaranteed that the far right were going to have a huge takeover in France. But he called the election anyway, and they got utterly annihilated. I don't know enough about. Those are like the memes I've read. That's it. Okay, hey, all right, we've moved on from Israel-Palestine. I mean, largely. That doesn't mean that we can start posting memes of like European shit. I don't know a single one of these people. I don't even want to admit to the ones that I know here. There has to be like a European to American ratio for memes that we're posting on the subreddit. Okay, this is just way too much. All right, there's no reason for this to be in a USA subreddit. This is absurd. Okay, holy Christ, what is happening here?
Destiny's pretty morbid, and that's cool and all. He destroyed both my relationships.
BZ.
Steven destroyed your relationship.
Both of them.
Wait, Steven did or Kelly did? I thought you were blaming Kelly earlier.
Yeah, that was a joke. Steven did, and that's cool because he called out Sneeko so many times. He embarrassed Sneeko, and that's why Sneeko had to dump me, because he was so embarrassed because Destiny won. And then with like Darius, like, to be honest, because I trust Destiny so much, him saying things like when he was like, oh, Darius doesn't want to be in a relationship with you, he's trying to find a way out. While now today I realize, okay, maybe that's not true at all, because he did come back to the relationship and he has done many things to try to make it work. I was problematic with like my emotions and dealing with the seeds that like was planted in my head. Like I believed it, like I was believing he don't love me, he doesn't care about me. Honestly, a lot.
Wait, have I made this prediction yet so I can claim going back further in time? If not, then I will stake my claim right now. Xena and Darius will be back and forth for at least 3 more years. They will never have a healthy relationship, though. I don't know if I stake that claim out prior to that, then extend that into the past, but Mr. Beast plan to save America. If we lower the age to run for president, I'll jump in the race. If I were president, I wouldn't care about party lines. I'd just always truly make the American people my #1 priority. For problems I'm ignorant in, I'd have experts from the left and right advise me on them and try to find the middle ground that's best for America. Wouldn't be viable. Don't care about doing things just because my party says I should. And I would focus on uniting the country instead of dividing it. Anyways, we can pick this up in 15 years and I'm old enough to run. He's so smart. So selfless. I wish we had somebody that was good enough to put the people first and not just listen to their parties. A true God among men. A true God among men. What are your opinions on the replacing Biden thing? Do you think they should?
Oh man, I have no attachment to the guy, and it seems like the evidence is mixed, because there's some polls which indicate like people like Kamala Harris and others are in spitting distance of Biden's performance against Trump, and they lack all the advantages that Biden has, like the name recognition, the record, et cetera, and so forth. But there's also a real risk that the scrutiny associated with them would drag them down. I mean, Kamala Harris has never been particularly popular in the first place, and she's the only one who could get Biden's funding. So like the Biden-Harris campaign fundraising dwarfs the DNC's fundraising. And if she's not at the top of the ticket, like if Biden dips and she's not the replacement for the presidential slot, they lose all that funding. So I don't know, man. But I'm also not the optimist. Like IRI is still like, go Biden, go Biden, go Biden. I'm terrified.
Terrified. I still feel like Trump has a lot of unpopularity issues with not his core constituents.
Sure.
And
he hasn't really gained in that respect, according to the polls. I mean, some people say, oh, after the debate, Trump's been sweeping. Well, no, Trump's level of support is basically the same. It's just that Biden is losing support and not gaining the support he needs to win.
Yeah. I also have I have a feeling that hopefully there are still big motivators like abortion that are working irrespective of who the candidate is. But the thing that's kind of worrying me the most right now is I don't know who's attacking Biden more right now. I can't tell because of my media, just because of like the bubbles that I'm in. I can't tell if it's like actually conservatives or if it's just a fuck ton of people on the left that want their own candidate in. One of the things that's driving me crazy, and I'll admit there might be Democrats that are making this like bow to the leader argument, and I just don't see them. But watching people like Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur like screeching over again, like, oh, we're not supposed to question authority. Oh, like they're screeching. And all I see when I see them say that is like, I really want my progressive candidate in. I really want my progressive candidate in. This is my moment. I can get, and it, like, is anybody actually chastising people for like considering other candidates because they think that we should have like supreme deference to Biden? Or
so I mean, you do get some of that. There are some like I got my ass chewed out because I did one postmortem debate video, and I began by saying that Biden had a shitty performance, and then I spent the vast majority of the video criticizing Trump because I thought that that was actually more substantive. He lied. He didn't answer questions directly. I mean, you watched the debate, and I felt that it was being glossed over. But I had people in my inbox and people in my mentions saying, "How dare you? I mean, we got to be loyal to Biden." It's like, no, I think it's fair to call a spade, and he had to.
Oh, I was thinking. I just meant in terms of like the media. Like, are there big media heads?
I don't know if they're, well, yeah, there are some people like on MSNBC. I think like Lawrence O'Donnell's is one where he's just calmly criticizing Democrats for the infighting. But for the most part, I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, New York Times, CNN, MSNBC, the so-called liberal media. I mean, there's a lot of like debate, public debate. This story will not end.
Yeah.
I will say though, it's actually a lot of the progressives, believe it or not, have Biden's back. Bernie Sanders, AOC, Ilhan Omar. They have all publicly said that they back Biden and that Biden's their guy. And a lot of the calls among sitting members of Congress are actually coming from the more moderate members who are asking him to withdraw or proposing that he withdraw because they're worried that he's not only going to lose against Trump, but that he's going to be a drag on the down ballot races. So surprisingly, from what I've seen, it's the progressives who have rallied behind Biden more than the moderates. How's that for a surprise?
Well, I mean, the progressives have chilled a lot. I mean, I think that most of the online progressives don't even like those progressives anymore. Like,
no,
especially
no,
after a lot of the Israel stuff. Yeah. Oof. When AOC started tweeting about anti-Semitism, they were losing their fucking minds. Huh.
Yeah. And Anna Kasparian, I mean, I'm not a big fan of hers anyway because she wasn't going to vote for Biden in the first place. If you actually watch the Young Turks content at all, they are more critical of the Democrats even now.
1,000,000%, bro, over the Israel-Palestine stuff. And I couldn't get Cenk to admit it. I wish I had a clip, but I'm almost positive I've watched both of them talk about how they couldn't ever bring themselves to vote for like a genocide supporter or Genocide Joe. I think I've seen Emma Vinklin call him. Like, I don't think these people were ever voting for Biden ever, yeah. But
well, Anna definitely. Cenk may or may not have come out and said it, but I've seen clips where Anna said, you know, and this was months ago, that she wasn't going to vote for Biden. I mean, she also bitches about Democrats when, in my opinion, she really has no merit to do so. So, like right now, for example, Republicans are in control of the House. So Democrats, and this is just simply the case, they do not have the power to even bring forth legislation. You know, so she was complaining, why aren't House Democrats, why are they spending so much time dunking on Republicans in these hearings? Why aren't they bringing forth legislation that the American people want? And it's like, they don't have the number. They can't even bring it to the floor. You know, you've covered this too, like the Senate Majority Leader in the Senate, that's the person responsible for calling forth legislation in hearings.
Yeah, and actually, and no one even gives a fuck, by the way, just to be clear, right? Because I'm pretty sure that in Pelosi's Congress 2 sessions ago, I think they passed more legislation on the floor than any Congress in the history of all. But who the fuck cares? Nobody talks about that. Nobody cares because obviously the Senate wasn't hearing any of it. So yeah, I don't know.
Right. Well, and also, I mean, this is the least productive iteration of Congress since Republicans took over, because even previously, like previous iterations of divided government, they were more willing to work with each other. But the Republican majority in the House, they look at any bipartisan bill as basically a win for Biden, including like keeping the government funded, right? Like keeping the lights on is seen as a victory for Biden. So it is the least productive iteration of Congress, I think, in recorded history, and certainly since the Great Depression. But Anna's, like, her criticisms are just wildly off base, because like the video was about Republicans were proposing bills to rename Dulles Airport in D.C. after Trump, and like the Gulf of Mexico after Trump too, like the near continental waters.
Okay.
And so Democrats proposed another piece of legislation. Obviously, again, it didn't go to the floor, but they were like, hey, how about we rename a Florida penitentiary after Trump instead, because that's where he'll go after his cases. And she was like, I can't believe the Democrats are making a mockery of all this. They should be actually working productively for the American people. It's like, you have no idea how government functions. And she's a political commentator, right? You would think that she would understand this shit. So I don't know, man. What are your, prior to this, I thought you were betting on Biden still winning. Has the debate and the fallout changed your views on this?
No, I still give Biden an edge. It's smaller now, though, like 55% of my brain on it. But there just has to be another news story that has to come up. Somehow we went from other stuff. No, this whole media cycle has been so boring the past 6 months. I feel like it's been little bits of Ukraine. The majority has been Israel-Palestine. And then whatever random like domestic thing comes up for like 2 days.
Yeah, so about the economy, obviously
I've just lost all hope for Americans having any. I think that how good the economy is doing is just a function of who's in office and what media you listen to. I think it's about that.
Oh no, 100%. I mean, because there's an economist by the name of Paul Krugman. He's talked about this, and he's not the only one. But like there is a partisanship associated with like perceptions of the economy, and Democrats do it too. I'm not going to say it's
they do it too, but the YouGov
but it is
conservatives are wow. It's hilarious how different that economy looks as soon as there's a conservative in office. It's fucking hilarious.
So do you bet, assuming that things trend exactly the way they have been, that if Trump wins the election like 20 days after he's inaugurated, those same, conservatives bitching about the economy, if nothing else changes, it's just the trends going as they are, will suddenly say that Trump has pulled us from the precipice of an economic disaster and
am I making this up? I thought I saw a conservative, or maybe it was Trump himself, saying that the reason why the economy was starting to recover under Biden is because companies were assuming that Trump was going to win the next election. Yeah. Did Trump say that, or was there a comment? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No. So both. So you had Larry Kudlow, who was an ex financial advisor in the Trump administration. He's now a Fox News host. He was also trying to give credence to this, but I think it was a couple of months ago after the stock market. It was either the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq or the Dow. One of them like blew up, like it was an unprecedented end of day closing or whatever. And Trump was all over social media. He's like, the stock market is doing well because they know that I'll be elected in November. And you had some people on Fox News kind of suggesting the same thing. It's stupid. You also have him trying to take credit for the jobs too. Like he's like, this is all the bounce back effect. But I mean, even if you control for COVID, Steve Ratner and a bunch of other economists and financial advisors and analysts have like covered this. Like even if you control for COVID job loss under Trump and COVID job recovery under Biden, the average number of jobs created under Biden per month is like 280,000 compared to like 180,000 under Trump. So Biden's record is still better. But yeah, to your point, I mean, I don't know. I think it's vibes now. I'm like Will Stancil pilled on this. I think that it's all about vibes. But what I was going to say was the chairman of the Fed is hinting that there actually may be interest rate cuts this year. Like they hinted at it last year, and then they kind of took it off the table. And
no, I don't think so. But we'll see.
You don't think so?
The problem is that the cumulative inflation has been so high that even if the rates have fallen, remember when we talk about inflation, it's just a rate of change, right?
Right.
So if inflation was like 15% for a year, and then next year it goes down to 1%, you like people often say like, oh look, we fixed inflation, but they're talking about the rate of change of the inflation. You still have that 15% inflation. The cumulative inflation is still something you're dealing with. So the idea that as soon as we get inflation down to like 2%, that the Fed is just going to start slashing rates again, it seems really dumb to me, especially when your unemployment is still so low as well. Like it's not like we've got like increased unemployment and like we need to start like pumping money into the economy. I would hope that they would keep rates high. But fuck. The problem is like Americans are so like economically stupid. So the issue is that like people want everything at the same time. So people will complain. So like, for instance, people complain about Americans, probably everybody in the world, complain about issues that push in both directions in contrary ways. So Americans will say things like housing is unaffordable and we need to lower rates, understanding that like, or not understanding that like, okay, well, upward interest rates should be putting downward pressure on housing prices. If you want to drop interest rates again to make quote unquote homes affordable, it's going to put upward pressure on home prices. So a decrease in interest rates should theoretically increase housing prices. Same thing with like student loan debt forgiveness, right? I can't afford a home. I need to get rid of my debt. It's like, okay, well, if you get rid of all student loan debt, that's way more upward pressure on housing prices. But people seem to want all of it at the same time. And yeah, it's just not possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Powell didn't come out and explicitly confirm it. This is just like people interpreting, reading the tea leaves based on congressional testimony he offered, like I think it was yesterday or the day before, talking about how it's not just, what did he say? Something like it's that there was considerable progress and in elevated inflation isn't the only concern that they have at this point. They're worried about the unemployment rate increasing. Even though it is relatively low, I think it's still like 4.1%. I'll send you the link. I've got it somewhere.
Because it was sub 4 for a while, unemployment rate.
Yeah, I think it ticked up in July to 4.1, which is still,
okay.
I mean,
I think theoretically it's supposed to be between 5 to 5.5. I think it's what the Fed shoots for. But okay, damn.
As far as all this stuff, I sent you a link. I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at it, but I thought you said a couple of days ago you were looking for like a legal eagle thing on Chevron. He dropped one.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, you did? Okay. Okay. Cool. All right, buddy. Well, listen, you have a great rest of your day.
I love you. Be careful.
Love you too. Bye.
Pisco. Oh, he came in here just to mute his microphone and taunt us. Russell Brand is such a fucking moron. Yeah, we know. Interest rates are not relevant when we were talking about housing prices being unaffordable. If rates come down, prices will inevitably rise faster, leading to the exact same situation as beforehand. Oh, I think you were agreeing with me in a strange way. Do you think there's an actual plan to replace Biden? I mean, I'm sure they've discussed it. God, it's just so much. It would just be so crazy.
Hey, you asked for me.
Oh my God, he's pissing. Hello?
What's up?
What are you doing? Are you
Can
okay?
you hear me?
Yeah?
Yeah, there's some construction going on. I don't know if you can hear it.
Jesus.
This could be your home. You could live here.
Are you in your house right now and there's just that noise?
No, I'm moving in between different places. You know, lawyers were always on the move, you know?
Okay.
So when my boy calls me and he says, you know, talk, you know?
Okay.
So what's good?
Oh, nothing. I just wanted to vent.
Yeah, tell me.
Well, now that we are, we've been, fuck, your background noise is killing me. Oh no, it was just over the 14th Amendment stuff. We read through the Brown v. Board decision yesterday. That's like
you read through Brown v. Board?
Wait, hello?
You read through Brown v. Board?
Yeah, it's like 14 pages, right?
Yeah, but I didn't see you do that.
Yeah. Okay, wait, here, hold on. We'll chat later, okay? Holy shit, I'm gonna kill myself. It is the most cancerous I've ever heard in my entire life. I'm gonna kill myself. Okay. But I love you. Yeah, we can talk later. Okay, love you. Okay. Could you please explain the connection between housing prices and student loans? Yeah. I feel like this gets like talked about a lot, but nobody. But I don't know how many people understand this. I've never taken a formal econ class, so if I get this wrong, feel free to correct me. Okay, look, this is how the whole world works. This is all of economics right here. Boom. The whole of economics is right here. This is it. Okay, this is all you have to know. I'm just kidding. I don't know how they normally label one. Actually, I don't think it matters so much. But this curve right here, or I'm sorry, this line segment is the hold on. It's like the quantity of goods produced. We'll say supply, okay? This is your... Wait, actually, we can do this really easily. Okay, hold on. This is number of units. This is number of units, and then this is cost. Oh, man, I'm sure they label these way different. I don't care, okay? This line right here is demand, okay? When the price is very, very, very low, the, oh wait, shit, hold on. Let's wipe this out. Okay, boom. There we go, okay. All right, we did it, okay. When the price of a thing is very, very, very low, okay? No, wait, oh fuck, that was right. I'm fucking my mind, hold on. Don't worry, we'll figure this out. Come back in 30 seconds. Let's make this one price. This looks better. And then this is the number. Okay. Okay. When the price of a thing, right here, this axis, is very low, then the number of things... Wait, why am I fucking my mind up? This point up here would be a high price and a low number. Oh, yeah, okay. Right, okay. It's been too long since I've drawn a graph. Holy shit. Okay. When the cost of a particular good is very, 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 is very high, the quantity of a good demanded is very low, right? So let's imagine that we walk into a store and Coca-Cola is being sold here at $5 million a can, right? So if we do this, then we would never want to buy, like only one guy's ever going to buy that Coke can, right? The price right here is very high, okay? And then the number, the quantity demanded is very low, okay? Some people might label these differently and draw it, but it's the same concept, okay? Down here, let's say that you are let's say that you're a supplier, okay? If the price of a particular thing is very low, you're not going to want to make very many of those things, or maybe none of it, right? In real life, by the way, these lines are not perfectly equal, but so down here, when you supply a given thing, if the price is very, very low for that good or service, you're not going to want to supply very much of it, right? And then if you go to the other end here, right? Let's say that the price of a thing is very, very, very high, right? Well, you want to make lots of those things, assuming there's profit and all that shit. Blah blah. We're going okay, and then along this axis here, right? If the cost of a thing is very, very, very low, then as a consumer, you'd want to buy a ton of it, right? Okay, so talking through both of these real quick. Okay, so the quantity supplied by a producer down here moves up along this axis as the price increases, okay? You're telling me you're gonna, Coke sells for $1 a can, I'm not making any of it. Fuck that, all right? But then you come up here and you're telling me I can sell $1 billion for one Coke can, I'm making so many of these cans, okay? So you're gonna supply more and more and more of a thing, depending on the price, but a consumer, right, the demand for that, demand is always spoken about, or should be spoken about, I believe, or no, I can't make any strong sense. I sound fucking retarded. Demand, oftentimes, at least in theoretical models, is spoken about demand at a given price, because demand will change responsive to prices depending on elasticity. That doesn't matter right now, okay? So let's say that $1 billion Coke can is up here, right? It costs $1 billion. You're not going to want to buy any of them. Then you go all the way down here, and the Coke can is 1 cent. You're going to want to buy a ton of them, okay? Somewhere, there is a quantity demanded that consumers have at a given price that matches. There's going to be some intersection here with the quantity produced by a given supplier, right? At that point here, right, you call this market equilibrium. This is the point at which the market settles. If suppliers were to create more than this, if the number were to increase, then that would mean that the price would have to go down because consumers aren't going to buy more, right? If they were, let's say that the supplier wants to make, if this, there are ways to draw like all sorts of cute little things. If the supplier is making a ton of things down over here, right? Like the cost is high, or the cost is the same, but they're making more of a given thing. Consumers aren't going to buy that much because consumers don't have the money or the desire, or whatever. They're not gonna buy over here, right? I feel like I didn't explain this very well. I think that makes sense, right? Did this make sense? Sure, no, yes, no. Okay, good enough. Okay. All right. There are different things that you can do when in order to change where these particular lines go. Okay, so okay, let's see if we can do this. For instance, let's say that we want to sell electric vehicles. Okay, but let's say that a consumer, okay, so hold on, wait, let's erase parts of this. I think realistically, I think your supply is probably going to look, for your producers, they're not perfect lines, right? How do they draw these in textbooks? They must have like modified lines, because I imagine in the real world, what a supply line is going to look like is you're not going to want to produce anything at a given price. And then once that price reaches a certain point, then you're going to want to start to produce. But maybe that's like up here, right? And then the line goes like this, right? But let's say that you're like, your consumer demand is never going to want to purchase anything like up here, right? So at a certain dollar amount, producers will produce a given thing, but that dollar amount is too high. So your consumption, you don't hit like a good market equilibrium, meaning maybe some consumers will buy it, but like most people don't. So what you want to do is you want to make it easier to produce a given thing. So you can provide like a subsidy. And what the subsidy does is the subsidy brings down the cost. It would shift down this whole producer thing, right? So we could bring, so rather than having like, I think like this type of thing, we can have like this type of thing, right? Because we've shifted the whole line down because we're providing a subsidy, which is moving this line down because we made it cheaper to manufacture a given thing, I think. Okay. Or on the flip side, instead of providing a subsidy to the manufacturer, we could shift the demand line up, right? And we could say that we're going to give a tax credit to somebody that purchases a particular thing, and that would cause this whole line to move up a bit, right? Well, before, a consumer would buy an electric car if it was $100, but not if it was $1,000. But if I tell a consumer, okay, well, hey, what if I give you a $900 tax credit if you buy it? Well, okay, it's $1,000. I'm only willing to spend $100, but if I get a $900 tax credit, yeah, I'll buy it now, right? So you're shifting the you're moving the line up, right? Okay, I think I could have explained this a lot more succinctly. It makes sense, I promise. All this to say that if we look at housing, if we look at housing prices and you look at the supply of housing and you look at the demand for housing, if you were to, actually, I don't even need to draw these lines. Fuck this. I should work with these a lot more because it would help my understanding a bit more or be able to explain it better. Actually, no. You know what? You should be able to move the lines around on a supply and demand graph because it really helps you understand, I think, like what is actually happening when certain things are happening in the market. So let's say that our, can I select this line? No, fuck, whatever. Let's say that this is the quantity supplied, right? So as the price increases, we're supplying more, and this is the quantity demanded, right? So the problem with forgiving student loan debt is that if we forgive student loan debt, what we're doing is we're increasing the money available to these people. So look at what happens, okay? This line is going to go straight up, all right? But when this line goes up, okay, it's going up, 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 up. Look at what's happening to the equilibrium point, right? As the line goes up, because these people now have more money, right? You've got the more money. As more money is happening, the market equilibrium is hitting a different spot because consumers are willing to pay more because they have more money available to them. However, in the housing markets, the supply is relatively fixed, meaning consumers cannot produce the same amount of a good or service in response to a demand to hit this equilibrium point. So if they can't do that, then what happens is the demand for the existing stock, the existing supply increases, the supply remains fixed, so the cost increases. So the new market equilibrium is just a higher cost for the same number of goods and services. Does that make sense? Did that make sense? I feel like I kind of sort of explained that. So like I imagine if you were to draw like a supply, if you were to draw a supply thing for homes, it would probably look something like, how would we draw this? So the number is always going to be somewhat fixed. It's going to look something like this, is my guess. Something like this. Am I correct here? It's not, functions only go one way, my friends. So the issue is that if consumers have this amount of money, your ability to make more houses, like let's say that this is our equilibrium point, right? As you increase the money supply available, at some point, I don't even know where the equilibrium is right now. I should have drawn this a little differently, right? As the money increases here and the ability to make more of a supply here, like, is capped, right, artificially, because you can only build so much. The only thing that happens is prices steeply climb, and that's it. And they climb very steeply. They're more steeply than if it was like than if they were able to keep up with the new demand. Fuck. Does that make sense? Okay. The technical term is short-run supply curve versus long-run supply curve. Okay. Whatever. Anyways, all this to say, if there were 1,000 houses available and a bunch of people are complaining that they can't afford those 1,000 houses, if you give all of those people more money in the form of student loan debt forgiveness and they go look at those 1,000 houses again, well, now the people selling the homes are looking at people with a lot more money who are willing to spend more money. So the price of those homes is going to increase. And now the people that have more money are complaining because, wait, what the fuck? Why are the prices going up? Well, it's because you guys all have more money now, so you're willing to pay more for them, right? The equilibrium point is increasing. There you go. Ugh, okay. Maybe you should review the episode of DuckTales dealing with the negative consequences of inflation. Is that a real episode of DuckTales? Testing, there are good arguments for cutting rates. For example, most current inflation is caused by housing prices, and in order to build, you rely on high debt through instruments like mortgages. Hence, high rates reduce housing supply, leading to increased inflation. Potentially, yeah. That there is cutting rates can have pressure in both ways as well. So, for instance, if mortgage rates decrease, then the demand, because remember, the quantity demanded will increase as the cost decreases, right? Like, let's say that I go to the store and I want to spend $5 on Coke. Let's say a Coke is $5. Let's say the next day Coke is $2.50. Well, fuck it, I'm going to buy 2 Cokes. The quantity demanded at a given price, the quantity demanded changes as the price changes, assuming there's some elasticity in the good. We're not talking about inelastic goods. Permaban, anybody that brings up inelastic goods, okay? So if so for homes, if the interest rate goes down, then that means that more people should theoretically want to buy them because the money is cheaper. However, there's a countervailing force here as well. As interest rates go down, more people want to buy homes. Wait, was it just the construction argument? But more people are also building homes as well. And then as interest rates go up, people should theoretically want to buy fewer homes. Oh, but there's that too. If interest rates go up, for instance, so let's say interest rates go up, that would bring prices, because interest rates are going up, the cost of housing would go up, the demand would go down, but as demand falls, the price will also fall. There's countervailing forces in this too. Sorry, interest rates are also complicated, or housing is complicated because there's a lot of weird market forces at play. Because you have somewhat inelastic demand, everybody needs a place to live. They don't necessarily need a mortgage though, so there's substitution effects to where you could rent a house or you could rent an apartment instead of buying a house. So you've got a type of inelastic demand for a class of goods for housing, but there's elasticity within the within that class because you could get an apartment, you could get a house, or you could rent a house, and then you've got interest rates, so people are borrowing money, so that functions as, or that factors in as well. And then you've got a fixed supply of housing to some extent because you can't build infinite houses because the land is limited. Fuck houses, okay? I don't remember what the point of all this was. Oh, yeah. More money to students means housing prices, all else equal, will probably increase. That was the point. There you go. We answered that question. It only took us 30 minutes.
EPA is not authorized by Congress?
I'm asking you.
I thought EPA was authorized by Congress.
Well, the EPA is not. The EPA has never been formally authorized by Congress.
Why build more housing when you can just subsidize demand? What is this? This is the most California story ever. To help the housing crisis, they budgeted $300 million to pay for first-time home buyers' down payments. In less than 2 weeks, they ran out of money and only helped 2,300 people. $300 million, 2,300 people helped. Jesus. How? I'm sorry, am I mind fucking myself on the math here? Is this $100,000 per person, or am I missing a zero there? $100,000 times 2,300. Jeez. Wait, are they subsidizing like the entire down payment? What the